Hi everybody, I've been doing a lot of odds and ends, so I just have a hodgepodge of things to tell you about. I finished this this skirt. It's the same skirt pattern that I did with the last video series I just did, that floral skirt. This is the same skirt, only I cut it, made it mini. I think I made it, I did smaller pleats too. I gave myself half-inch pleats so that the front pleat is only an inch wide for the smaller skirt. And I did a length of 4 inches from top to bottom without my seam allowances. So I was thinking you could probably embellish this with another flower, but I never put another flower on it yet. But you can certainly add either a rose or some other type of flower on top of this one to give it a little bit more character. That doesn't match, of course, but it's just for an example to show you. I made a little simple knit top, which is this pattern right here, out of pink knit fabric, pink ribbed fabric. I don't know if you can see this pink ribbed fabric. It's really hard to sew on, but I found a trick to sew on this without having anything, no special sewing machine or special attachments. But it's basically just looks like a full sleeve, but it actually is the top of that, the top of this blouse right here. But anyway, I haven't finished this because I ran out of hooks and eyes, and I didn't want to go to the store today because it's the first. A lot of places are closed, so I just have it pinned on. But basically, that is the same skirt as the last one I did, only in a spring design. I thought I would try and get rid of some of the lace, because I got so much lace in that last haul that I got over at in Austin. So I took this this piece of lace here. It's like little roses and that, and I just did a about, I think this was a 12-inch piece of fabric by I forget what I did. I think it was maybe 3 inches. I did a casing for elastic. I just turned that in, and then I just ruffled my lace, and I just sewed my lace on top. I think this lace was probably about 40 inches of lace. It was just one piece that was cut all by itself, so I added that lace. And I'm thinking this would be really cute too if you just did layers of lace and made yourself a lace skirt for the dolls. I think that would be real cute. But anyway, that's what I thought I'd use up some of my lace for, was that little skirt. So then the next thing I did, it needed something else, so I got out my pattern for leotards, and I thought I would make another outfit to go with this little knit top. So I took my leotard pattern, and because I was going to use this knit, it was a little tankini that I bought at one of the resale shops. I cut off the front of the tankini, and that's how I got these stretch pants. I don't know what you call these. But anyway, I used the front of the tankini, and then I couldn't go all the way. I wanted to go all the way down to the ankles, and I couldn't because it wasn't big enough. So what I ended up doing is I made them as long as I possibly could so they still would fit the doll. But that's basically all that is just the leotard pattern that I cut off and made into a pair of pants. Another thing I did was, instead of throwing out all these straps, I took the strap, and I haven't sewn it together yet, but I thought, what an easy way to make a bunch of headbands for your dolls. All you got to do is sew those together, and you have the right size headband to make doll headbands. so I'm going to take all my straps off and make a bunch of headbands. I didn't even think about it until I made that last headband with the roses on it. But this is a good way to coordinate and get matching colors, because of course it's going to match your fabric already, because that's the way it came. So you'll have a matching headband and matching clothes. So I thought that was pretty good idea. So anyway, so here's the pants, here's the blouse I'm going to show. I'm going to do a video on this one. But on this is that rib knit that's really hard to sew on. So, but anyway, I'm going to show you how to make this little simple, it's just this little simple tank top. I tried it on the American Girl dolls, and it also fits on them. But on the American Girls, you probably want to give yourself a little bit extra room. You might not even have to do a whole strip of Velcro. You can probably get by with just half a strip. But anyway, to make these spaghetti straps, I bought one of these loop turners at the quilt show. And it's a 9.5-inch loop turner, and basically what that is it makes your spaghetti straps. It can make those frog closures, your button loops, and it also does those Chinese ball purse straps. But it's real simple. You just take your fabric. It says it's for bias fabric, but I've used it where it's not bias, and it still works just as well. Even though this isn't on a bias, I sew it with a stretch stitch, and you still get a little stretch, but you really don't need it for the sleeves. You don't want a lot of stretch for the sleeves. But I followed the ribbing. I just went up and down the ribbing, and that's how I got that little spaghetti strap. But I'll show you how to use this. All it is like, if you've ever done latch rug, it's the same thing as a latch rug on the top, only it is a lot smaller. But what it does is I don't have anything right now to show you, but you insert it, you sew your fabric, you insert it, and you grab the edge of it, and then you seal up that little latch, and then you pull it down, and it will pull your fabric. It even goes through. In some cases it actually grabs the fabric and puts it in the fabric, but it's knit, so it doesn't, it's got a rounded point, so it doesn't destroy your fabric, but it will have a tendency to go through. See how that is? And then it catches it and grabs it. But I haven't ruined any fabric by using it yet, and I've used it like 3 times already. Even though it goes through the fabric, it just pulls it through and without hurting your fabric. So I like it. I paid mine $3.95 at the quilt show for mine, but you can get it at Joann's. Joann sells them for $4.49, and if you're by a Hancock fabric, Hancock sells them for $4.29. So they're all in the same ballpark, but it's definitely a nice thing to have, and I'm glad I got it because this is what our next project's going to be. I'm going to show you how to do this, and you see how excuse me, knit fabric has a tendency to stretch a lot. I mean, this fabric, when you're sewing it, it has a tendency to stretch out of shape. I practiced on so much of this fabric trying to get it to work right. So I went to Joann's again, and I talked to the lady in the sewing department. Her suggestion was that I go out and buy a serger, because evidently you can sew on these with a serger machine. Well, I didn't want to spend that much money to make a couple doll blouses, so another thing she suggested I get one of those Teflon coated pressure feet. So you put your pressure foot on, and it's Teflon coated. I didn't buy one, but it looks sort of like my plastic one. Yeah, this is my plastic one. She said what it does, that Teflon coating, you can actually see the Teflon on the bottom. As your knit goes over. The reason it stretches when you sew it is because the bottom pulls through faster than the top, and that's why you get that contrast on there. So she said to use something like a plastic Teflon coated pressure foot, and then the top will slide and you won't have that resistance against the bottom foot. I already had the plastic one and I didn't want to spend another $17 to get another pressure foot. So I just skipped that idea, and I have been using this one, and this one does work fine. Another thing I did was I bought a set of, but you can use this technique that I'm going to show you. You can use your regular pressure foot. You don't have to have a plastic foot or any of that either. Let me see if I can find, I was so mad at myself, I went and I bought a double needle, thinking I was going to need a double needle to sew on these. I already had a couple, but I bought the special jersey knit double needle, and when I was using it, I changed my needle position on my machine without thinking, and I only used it like 10 minutes, and I ended up busting it. It just hit the pressure foot and just completely busted into pieces. So when you're dealing with that double needle, always make sure that you have your needle position in the center, or before you make any sewing, make sure that that clears your pressure foot, because mine lasted like 10 minutes and I spent $4.49 for it. So I wasn't too happy about that, but it was a nice needle. It was I used that needle to sew in my this purple is the same thing, that rib knitting. I used that double needle to sew the seam in the bottom of this dress. This is one of those t-shirts that I bought at Austin, and I cut it apart. I made a couple things with it. I took this part here, which was the bottom of the t-shirt, and I made a regular t-shirt from the bottom. I just cut it off and I saved the peace sign and the rest for another dress. So this was the bottom of this, and I just turned it upside down and made it this little t-shirt. This was before I didn't know how to sew on rib knitting, and I tried to sew with a regular knit stitch, and you can see, I don't know if you can see how out of shape and misshapen I made that, so I stopped here because I got so frustrated, and then I just whip stitched the rest of it with a needle and thread, because now I know how to sew on this rib knitting. I did a facing on this, and I did the same thing. I just turned down the facing. But they say that sewing on knits is the hardest, and I believe it. It really is. This is that this was the under t-shirt from this t-shirt, and this was the first piece I made out of it. Same thing. I had a terrible time with the knit fabric. You can see my stitching. It is just a mess. But I used just a zigzag on this one, trying to get the fabric to lay down right, and it is just horrible. I mean, it's still this one I used that 3-point zigzag, but that was with the casing. But still, I got that stretch on the bottom, even with this thinner t-shirt material. So what I did is I figured out that it was just by luck, because I had bought these elastic clear elastic plastic. This one is Sewology, and this one is the Dritz. I forget what I paid for them, but anyway, it's 100%. I have another. Here it is. This one is the Dritz. The Dritz is a better quality. It's better made quality, I think, than the Sewology. But with this clear plastic, it's 100% polyurethane. So you have to stretch it out a few times before you use it. But once you have that stretched out a couple times, you can insert this into your your rib knitting, cover it, and then if you sew a zigzag across here, this is the plastic is actually in here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I've sewn that clear plastic in the bottom of this piece for practice, and I got a perfect non-stretched piece of sewing on the rib. Same thing with the blouse. I sewed the whole bottom of this blouse with this clear elastic on the inside, and I didn't have any stretch whatsoever, and it's just a zigzag. And because you're dealing with knit fabric, you really don't have to worry about the raw seams, but I covered them with my zigzag stitch so they wouldn't fray. But even if you wanted to do a double, if you wanted to put that and then do it a double to cover the elastic and put your seam in, it'll be thick, but you would have no raw edges that way. So that's something you can think about. But it's a regular zigzag. You still have to go slow, and like I say, when I've got it on the top too. I've got that elastic on the top so that it would keep my top from doing the same thing. So here what I did on the top, I zigzagged my spaghetti straps on, and I made my stitches too small and it didn't look good on the front, so I ended up putting some buttons on the front. So if you want to do the spaghetti straps on the back, I learned my lesson from up here, so I just hand sewed the back of the strap here with a double stitch, and it seemed to work a whole lot better. And I didn't have to worry about anything showing in the front. It looks like there isn't even a strap attached there because all my sewing was done on the back. So it's worth the extra couple minutes it takes to hand sew these. But if you are going to do put the strap on by machine, use a bigger zigzag and just go back once and twice. And don't make a big mess, because I thought I'd do it like a buttonhole like they do on the store-bought kind, but it just made a mess on it. That's why I covered it with the buttons, but the buttons are cute. It does look cute with that. But anyway, I'll do that as a video all by itself, so you can see me do it on the sewing machine. But they're the cutest little blouses, and they're so simple to make. And if you go to the thrift stores, you're going to find a ton of knit fabric. Most of the knits that I have, I bought at the thrift stores because people buy them, they take them home, and then they realize they don't know how to sew on this knit fabric. So you can get them you can get a ton of fabric for just pennies at the thrift stores, because people buy them, like I said, and they can't sew on them, so they end up giving them to the Goodwill. Okay, so that was that project with the loop turner and the clear elastic. Another thing I want to tell you about this clear elastic, I was trying to, I bought this originally to make a pair of clear sandals or clear slippers, like Cinderella slippers. Let me see if I'm running out of time. Hold on just a second. Oh, I still have some time. I still have like 10 minutes. I bought this clear elastic because I was going to excuse me, try and make some slippers for this purple dress, like Cinderella slippers, glass slippers. But because that fabric is, that elastic is like 100% polyurethane, nothing would stick to it. So anyway, I made these thinking that I tried everything. I tried super glue, I tried shoe glue, I tried hot glue. Hot glue, once it dries on hot glue, it just falls right off. But nothing I tried worked on these. So I even tried gluing them overnight and just leaving them and putting them between these two cardboards with the rubber bands, thinking I'd just put them down there and forget about them. But it doesn't. There's really nothing that's going to work. I tried the Ultimate. I tried, what else did I try? I tried everything on these, and it just does not want to stick to the floor tiles with this polyurethane. I mean, it'll stick. Everything else will stick, but this polyurethane elastic will not stick. And who wants this kind of mess anyway? So I went to Hobby Lobby, and they have in the back where all of the upholstery fabric is, they have clear vinyl. They have it in 3 different grades. They have light, medium, and somewhere. light, medium, and heavy duty. So I bought some heavy duty clear vinyl, thinking I'll use this to make some pumps and see if that will work. Because the whole idea was to get like Cinderella glass slippers. So that was my idea. But anyway, this is what I thought I was going to do. To make see-through slippers. And that was my intention, was to make Cinderella slippers. So it looks like she's not wearing anything. And for this outfit, I actually had made up, let's see if I can see it anywhere, a little purple. I made a little purple rose that I was going to match with the roses in her hair, and put them on her shoe. Let me see if you can see that. That was what I wanted to do, to make really pretty little sandals to match this outfit, but it didn't work out. But anyway, that's I'll try it again with the glass slippers and see if I have any better luck with that one. But they are really cute. If I can get them to work somehow, they are cute. But I was told by somebody, I don't remember who it was, but this clear plastic elastic is what they use to hold on clogs. But you can tell by looking that it's already pulling away from the finish on the floor tiles. Okay, so anyway, that was that. I'm going to have to come back on the next video. I'll be right back. Hold on.